Here we go again.
Because you've been tricked twice already.
The Empire has made a critical mistake. The time for our attack has come. The data brought to us by our Jedi spies pinpoint the creation of a new battle station. We also know that the weapon systems are not yet operational. With the enemy fleet spread throughout the galaxy in the vain attempt to engage us, it is relatively unprotected. But most important of all, we've learned that this weapon is a greater threat than anything that's come before it. Seen here are the 2 Death Stars created years ago. Follow this up with the creation of Starkiller Base 30 years later. And this is the new weapon. It is said that the weapon's core is the size of Earth's own sun. This is no planet killer. This is a system killer. Our only hope now is to prep a full-scale attack on the station with our army and our allies.
Excuse me, Master Jedi. I assume this is to keep it out of the Empire's hands, correct?
No. To destroy it.
I object to this mission. This could be a gift from our creator. Why not use this weapon?
She has a point. The Jedi Order has protected us and has continued to fail and fail again. Give the Republic the weapon of the enemy. Let us use it against them!
You cannot use this weapon. None of us can. That much power must be destroyed.
Easy for you to say, Toydarian.
Any attacks made by the enemies of the Republic would be futile if such a weapon was in our hands. This battle station could be the ultimate power of the universe. I suggest we use it.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror seen before you. The ability to destroy galaxies is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Handsome Manadun, it's another Jedi. Power stomach. Die.
It was the powers of the dark side that led the old republics to fall, not the Jedi.
Jedi, Sith, whatever. It is all a big sham. Your kind should have died out a long time ago, when the First Order fell.
Have you heard nothing of what the Jedi has said? The weapon must be destroyed.
Look what we've endured for decades. It's the Jedi who are to blame for our creators to leave us.
Tell me, how is life in the Outer Rim since the Prequel for one what? Correct you big new green
Rangers, we've sensed a disturbance in the morphing grid of the return of Reading Republic. What? Oh, shit. Wrong communication server.
We concur with the Jedi and the Senators in this matter. Yes, this weapon in the wrong hands could lead us to the destruction for both the Republic and the galaxy itself. As such, I will grant a full-scale attack on the heart of the Imperial fleet, overseeing this weapon. After our assured victory, we shall allow the Senate to vote on the fate of this battle station. To fill our obligations, I will send Jedi critic BigJackFilms and his fleet to lead this liberation with a critic-proof strategy. You have my honorable word.
Of writing the scripts, those two characters switched around a little bit, and I went back and forth. Ultimately, they merged into being one character. The idea that Darth Vader was becoming more machine than man, and that he was losing his soul.
What's wrong?
It's nothing. I haven't let you down this far, have I?
Would you tell me if it's about Vader?
I sense a disturbance.
A vision?
Why would Lucas leave his universe like this? With so many questions left unanswered. How did the First Order rise? Why does the New Republic keep failing? How is Vader still alive?
But that would mean Anakin is too, right?
No.
It isn't possible.
You don't know that. Vader said he killed Anakin. He destroyed his spirit. Then who is it that takes the power and form within that mask?
Look, we're all tired from this war. But trust me, the Empire will not strike back. Not with all the planets on lockdown. The Jedi, they always win. They always do.
I doubt it. The Senate is voting to disband the Jedi Order permanently, to de-escalate things and the war faster.
Look, don't worry about that right now. Your fleet is planning on taking me back to my home planet tomorrow. And once we get that, I will talk to the scouts and we will discuss measures about protecting our worlds, okay? Look, I'm gonna miss you when this is all over.
Jack, the Council requires your presence immediately. It's urgent.
I'm on my way, Master.
Due to the temple attacks and the pressure from the Senate, these council meetings are to be off-record, including any Jedi profiles such as this.
Indeed. Allow this appointment lightly. The Council does not. Disturbing is this move by Chancellor Kennedy.
I understand.
It has come to our attention that you have someone close to you, my young friend.
Normally the Jedi Council would have you expelled for having such an emotional attachment. We've heard of your committed relationship to Princess Leia of the planet Jupiter.
Then you can understand, Master, why I've refused time and time again your offers to be on both the Council and the Order.
You have chosen your own path, Jack. While we do not believe in our abilities to love based on the code, we can respect Sith feelings for those that have fallen out of the Order.
Thank you for your empathy, Master.
I would guarantee to my fellow Jedi Council, if the same honor and loyal respect was given to Anakin Skywalker all those years ago, then the galaxy would be in a much more peaceful place.
Honor that we do, young Grey Jedi. But time for codes and rules we do not have. Enough Jedi left to confront the Senate there is not. In these times of crisis, need all the knights we can.
Master Yoda is right.
Master?
Jack, Chancellor Kennedy has selected you to lead the final attack against the Empire.
Yes. Master Kenobi has gifted us with the location of the hidden weapon. We would be honored to have your great abilities and powers to lead us to victory. Plus, we know of your determination to hunt down Darth Vader for your personal gratification.
Once he and those who stand with him are destroyed, this war will be over.
And I shall surrender my powers as Supreme Chancellor to those worthy of its cause. I will even pardon the Jedi and have the temple rebuilt before my term is done.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
For the last time, Kiani dickhead, no one gives a shit about the droid attack on the Wookiees!
It's true.
Care, we do not.
Why are you even here?
And hell yeah, I'll take the job.
Then go, you must. But during your travels, review the final prequel of history. You will.
Thank you, Master.
May the Force be with us all.
Ooh. I have got to stop getting myself in these Jedi affairs. Well, guys, there's no delaying it any longer. Let's take a look at the final installment of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. But does it deserve all the criticism, or does it fail to fall to the dark side with the negative aspects picked apart left and right? Well, let's take a look, because personally, this is where the fun begins. This, of course, being Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Nearly 3 years have passed since the events of Attack of the Clones. Though with all that went down in the Clone Wars, it feels like 5, as the Republic, with the help of the Jedi, take on Count Dooku, played again by Christopher Lee, and the Separatist armies. With a new threat rising, the Jedi Council sends Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, played once again by Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, to aid the captured Chancellor Palpatine, played again by Ian McDewitt, as Anakin feels he is ready to be promoted to the Jedi Master. Unfortunately, the Jedi Council refuses such a reward.
What?
This is due to the growing fears that only now the Jedi realize the Sith Lord Darth Sidious might be right under their nose with the deep controls of the Republic. And when Obi-Wan is sent to hunt down the Separatist General Grievous, voiced by Matthew Wood, Anakin begins to have future visions of pain and suffering coming Padme's way as she is now expecting their child. And while Master Yoda, once more played by Frank Oz, is on the planet of Kashyyyk with Chewbacca, played again by Peter Mayhew, the puppet master Darth Sidious finally reveals himself to execute Order 66, destroy the Jedi Order, and forge the Galactic Empire. All while Anakin himself succumbs to the seduction of the dark side of the Force to be reborn as the Dark Knight of the Sith, Darth Vader. So, after episode 2 left a lot of people feeling kinda empty, there was actually somewhat of a surge of interest for the next one in comparison to the last, mostly due to seeing how it would end the trilogy and connect itself to the original Star Wars. And fuck me, compared to the last two, the wait for this one felt way longer.
I say patience. Patience.
This was at the time I finally dived into the cyber world of the internet and discovered the likes of StarWars.com, which was pretty bare bones at the time despite my nostalgia for it. Back then, the internet was pretty primitive, despite downloading videos via QuickTime or, God forbid, LimeWire. YouTube didn't even exist yet by the time episode 3 came out. In fact, it wouldn't show itself until a few months later. At the time, I would spend the days watching trailers on websites, discovering fanfiction, laughing my ass off with websites like ytmnd.com. Yeah, remember that? Chatting with friends on MSN, and researching movies I was looking forward to on forums or even Google Images. And that is where I discovered pre-release fan art and posters for episode 3, which really increased my hype. Now granted, some of these have been lost to time, with one I remember showcasing episode 2 Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting on the side of a volcano, and most of these pieces came with what many considered the original subtitle of episode 3, Rise of the Empire. Not only that, this was also when I first discovered fan trailers. Most were in low quality on websites like theforce.net, but some of them actually did manage to fool me that they were real trailers.
Ow! This helmet is chafing my eyebrows!
However, outside of subscribing to the Star Wars website's Hyperspace Club, where you could see the web documentaries for the first time during the film's production, the first major sight of episode 3 actually came not from the teaser poster, which all the prequels had amazing teaser posters for, not even from the teaser trailer, but from the 2004 DVD release of the original Star Wars trilogy. The first time the original movies were released on a format outside of VHS and Laserdisc. Granted, these were updates of the special editions, with an enhanced Jabba, Ian McDiarmid's Palpatine in Empire, and Hayden's Anakin thrown in Return of the Jedi. But the fourth disc had so many amazing bonus features, including the incredible Empire of Dreams documentary, but most importantly, 3 exclusive previews for Star Wars Episode 3. The first were little glimpses in the birth of the lightsaber featurette, the second being a behind-the-scenes preview of the Episode 3 video game, which I'll talk about later, but the best was the Episode 3 preview titled The Return of Darth Vader, giving fans their first look at the final chapter of the prequel trilogy. Granted, no special effects were finished, but we mostly got to see our first look at Darth Vader actually in the suit, portrayed by Hayden Christensen, surprisingly, but our first real look at what we were all waiting for, the epic final duel between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. For many fans, including myself, seeing this raw footage was incredible, and the lightsaber fights looked faster and more lethal than we'd ever seen before. Of course, after this, the hype for Star Wars was back for me, stronger than Episode 2 was, and the same can be said for the fanbase, as this and eventually the first teaser trailer hit theaters and the internet in the fall of 2004. This was not just the last chance for the prequels to land, but for all of us at the time, the final Star Wars movie, making it one of the most anticipated films of 2005 next to The Chronicles of Narnia and Peter Jackson's King Kong that Christmas season. But with all the hype and preconceptions that fans had for this final chapter, does the film hold up 20 years later and live up to its reputation as the best of the prequels? Well, I'm happy to say, especially after seeing it again for the 20th anniversary screening, Yes, it fucking does. Not only does it deliver, but it's gotten better over time and, like many have stated, is the best of the three. Not only does it tie everything well to the original trilogy, not only are the special effects and action set pieces spectacular, but the characters are given proper final bows with much better results of acting for all the actors involved in their dedication to the prequel trilogy. First off, of course, is the fate of the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, and his rebirth into Darth Vader. And I agree that this time around, Hayden Christensen is at his best here. First off, his new look is just badass. Gone is the buzz cut, gone is the ponytail braid and whiny attitude.
You thunder against me?
Well, most of it. Gone is that James Dean edge to a dark, cunning warrior, and the best star pilot in the galaxy in the opening scene, as Obi-Wan would say to Luke in Episode 4.
And he was a good friend.
I love the costume design this time around. It follows up his look in Episode 2, but adds an awesome gauntlet for his robotic limb to probably cut some costs in the CG budget. His robes are a lot darker, hinting to his darker-sided tendencies. His lightsaber lines up to pass on to Luke. And not only is he rocking that BAMF scar, but that hair, y'all!
Feels a little pretty. That's what I mean.
Is he wearing a big Jedi mullet? Yep. Top man.
A pass on from Obi-Wan in Episode 2, but man, he's rocking that warrior mullet. Something even I've kept up with for almost a decade. But looks don't make a character, and to be fair, many of the designs were disregarded by George at the start.
I think it's too much.
What makes Anakin's character so great in this final chapter is the tragic and sad fate of it all, as we see him come to terms in battling his demons, with his more ruthless actions, his growing anxiety, his frustrations with the Jedi Order, and his growing urge and addiction for power. All of which develop him into one of the greatest icons of evil in cinema. While as Anakin, he can be charming, cheeky, intimidating, awesome, and at times a tad frustrated, as Darth Vader, he becomes violently aggressive, full of rage, engulfed and corrupted with the power bestowed to him, but his fighting style becomes much more insane and psychotic, and behind the flaming eyes of the dark side is a tortured soul, desperately doing everything he can to protect whatever love he has left. All of these emotions and reactions have to be 100% credited to Hayden Christensen, who left the series on a fantastic note, ignoring the negative critical reception of his previous take and offers the audience a much better performance as the hero who fell from grace. It's a shame Hayden was practically booed out of Hollywood with only one other film under his name in 2008 with Jumper, which, by the way, extremely underrated. Because he has a lot more he could do, not just as an incredible actor, but for the character of Anakin. And it's nice to see him pop up again in shows like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ahsoka, finally getting the love and respect from the fans he rightfully deserves.
Making me emotional.
But for all of us, it's argued that Episode 3 is his best work to date, giving us that turn from hero to villain in one of its finest portrayals.
You underestimate my power!
But next to Anakin, his mentor and now brother Obi-Wan Kenobi is at his best here. Hell, Ewan in all three films onward are still amazing in the role, and in this film, it's one of the better transitions between the prequels and the original trilogy. The character is pretty much, by this point, the prologue to Alec Guinness.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Lucas, the designs, and Ewan all did their homework in writing looks and performance to match Alec's Ben to Ewan's Kenobi. While the fight styles are different, logically transitions from the grand warrior to the wise old man. The character is on par to bridge over to the original both in the costume and in Ewan's performance as both charming, clever, and more patient than he was in the first two. You could tell that during the Clone Wars, he and Anakin mended this gap in their relationship as master and apprentice and finally found a way to be more of a team, evolving them more into brothers as the two are promoted to Jedi Master and Jedi Knight. It's a lot stronger, and you can tell that both have learned from each other's wins and mistakes. This is something that the expanded lore and shows really contrasted, but again, I don't want to focus on that given how much is in there. And Ewan really is peak Obi-Wan here. And by the end of it, the fate of him and his friends really leaves a dent in his character and adds additional weight to his presence in Episode before, and all did their homework in delivering what was intended in George's vision, especially in the line delivery.
Hello there.
Now, I'll get to that trend later.
Always on the move.
Ewan spent 11 weeks with Hayden to prep for this movie in the saber combat much more so than the previous two, and for him, it was the most exhausting given the fights got faster and faster in each episode. And to this day, much like Hayden, can still give it his all that it almost becomes an instinctive second nature to the actor. Ewan overall in this trilogy is one of the best things in it, being the most consistent and in the heart of the story from beginning to end, making Obi-Wan go from just that crazy old wizard on Tatooine in the original to one of the best developed and enduring characters of the Star Wars saga, making it arguably Ewan's most iconic role in his career.
Another happy landing.
With the original trilogy having a trio of main leads, we end this one with the third in Senator Amidala Skywalker, who I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little 50-50 on here.
What did you say?
Now hold up folks, that's nothing against Natalie Portman or how the character is here. For one thing, much like everyone else in this movie, is arguably her most engaging performance of the character. The acting is a lot stronger here, and the dialogue is more defined. I can actually get behind concerns for her as Anakin does, and by the end of it, feel her utter heartbreak that the man she loves has become a monster. It's utterly soul-crushing. Second is her choice of outfits, and I'm not gonna lie, these are probably the best costumes given to her and some of Trisha Bogard's best work. It's more simplified, not as switched out, and not as overboard as before. My personal favorite being her nightgown of all things. Maybe it's the beads, maybe it's the color, but I don't know, I found Portman looked pretty good in this scene, and is one of her best scenes in the film. But that's not my problem. While she's essentially on paternity leave, the problem is, she's barely in the movie! Yeah, despite having her best moments in the trilogy, it's pretty rare through most of the runtime. I'm not asking her to be in action scenes like before, again, being pregnant and all, but she doesn't really do anything in this movie. And there's an actual reason for this. All three films had many scenes cut for pacing reasons, and Episode 3 is no exception. And about 20% being all of Padme's main missions in the story, essentially with Bail Organa, played by Jimmy Smits, and another cut character of a younger Mon Mothma, played now by Genevieve O'Reilly. Essentially, they formed the frickin' Rebel Alliance! Yeah, it turns out Padme was one of the original co-founders of what was to be her daughter's task in the original trilogy. But unfortunately, Lucas cut all these scenes not just for pacing reasons, but to remove any further negative criticisms of the political aspect in the prequels.
I don't believe what I'm hearing.
But out of all of the films, Episode 3 needed more of this to showcase how the Republic became the Empire. And to see all of Natalie's most crucial scenes as a character be cut from the final film must have been heartbreaking.
I can't believe it has come to this.
But despite that, Natalie's final bow as the Queen is honestly her best work in the trilogy. In fact, I say that a lot with everyone here, to be honest. It really is the best acted of the three, leaving us with a character of royalty, but dispersed with all her sense of hope shattered, with a combination of sadness and heartbreak.
On behalf of the delegation of 2000, I thank you, Chancellor.
And despite Padme's most crucial scenes being cut from the film, that's not the case this time for Christopher Lee as Count Dooku, only being in the beginning of the movie and quickly killed off, much like his work as Saruman in Return of the King. But unlike that film where the theatrical cut scrapped his entire scene, which was completely stupid.
But there is a wizard to manage here.
And there Saruman must remain, under your guard, Tribute. He has no power anymore.
What kind of nonsense is this?
It appears Lucas learned from Peter Jackson, and out of respect for Lee, kept his final scene in. And again, like Padme, I'm a little mixed on the choices made here, because they kill off the main villain of the second movie in the first 15 minutes! What the hell? Why does this keep happening to Christopher Lee in these big franchises. I can understand being an aged actor, and given his time on those Dracula movies, he probably has a distaste for being in so many sequels, but this was aimed as your present bad guy, while the main bad guy worked in the shadows. I also understand getting to Darth Vader as soon as possible, but you could have given Dooku more time to develop as a character. I'll bring more of this up later with my problems in episode 3, but my god, Lee deserved better in all these franchises. He probably only shot for 2 or 3 days max on this one, and he had a lot to offer with this character. Again, the Clone Wars and other media, they do rectify this in flushing out Dooku, but it's not Christopher Lee in those, despite only being in the first movie pilot episode.
I expected such treachery from a Jedi.
However, again, Lee, for what he was given, does great here, and while most of him was his stunt double Kyle Rowling like in episode 2, he does have some fun lines here and does try to ham it up in entertainment in his only scene.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
I wish he had more to work with, but I'm a sucker for anything this guy's in, and I hope to talk about his other movies someday, because this guy is one of the most respected actors in cinema history.
What more can an actor want in terms of being in a story which is immortalized in the eyes of millions of people? It's very rewarding, very enthralling, and it's magic.
And yeah, most of the villains are really pushed to the side in any character development in these films. From Nute Gunray to Darth Maul, Jango Fett, and Count Dooku. All of them have great ideas, but feel like afterthoughts in this entire trilogy. With the same being for the awesome arrival of the droid commander and Jedi Slayer, General fucking Grievous. Now, I know I promised to stay clear of any non-film material, but this guy needs some context in how awesome he is. And that didn't come from episode 3. Okay, let's talk about this awesome cartoon. Much like Boba Fett, his first appearance was in an animated microseries with Cartoon Network's Star Wars Clone Wars, created by Samurai Jack's Genndy Tartakovsky. And then the finale to Season 1, we are introduced to General Grievous in one of the most thrilling, terrifying, and coolest entrances to any character in the Star Wars saga. Jesus! General Grievous is just a badass and made a very positive impression on fans when this episode dropped, especially when he kills the Jedi apprentice known as Shaw-Gi. Yes, that is meant to be a reference to that Shaw-Gi. The mystery of this character, his impressive speed and skills with the lightsaber, and his chilling presence left fans stunned and engaged with who he was, and something that would conclude and expand in episode 3. Everything about Grievous's design is awesome. From the thin droid look, the organs within his body, the awesome cape, the lizard-like eyes, even his lightsaber collection is awesome. Though I feel he would have competition with an elegant weapon.
That guy has been trying to break into my armory for years, but luckily, I have an excellent raised shield defense system installed.
Your lightsaber.
That's it. Back to the trash compactor with you.
And I do wonder what Grievous would think of the current designs that Disney's putting out with their lightsabers.
General Kenobi.
And in that sense, while all being done in CGI, ILM had some of their best work in the film done with this character. Credit has to go to not just the animators, but the conceptual artists who spent months creating the final design, and his incredible voice provided by sound designer Ben Burtt's protege, Matthew Wood. There was so much artwork done on this guy that some of it was used to create the look of Grievous's guards, which in of themselves are equally cool to see, also including the first canonical weapons that could block lightsabers, or as Lucas put it,
If you got a laser sword that'll cut through anything and do anything, then you're sort of stuck. It's like Superman.
Superman without kryptonite wouldn't work.
Originally, George Lucas wanted actor Gary Oldman, of all people, to voice the droid general. But not only being a member of the Actors Guild and being signed up for Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins make him unavailable, but Gary Oldman himself being tired of his typecasting playing villains and wanted to explore other roles in acting, namely the hero after pulling that off surprisingly with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Plus, didn't Gary Oldman already play a spidery sci-fi villain? Spiders! While it would be cool to see Gary take on the role, Matthew Wood left a great impression on the film, and while some fans also love what voice actors John DiMaggio and Richard McGorgle brought to the Clone Wars, Wood is my personal favorite, given he's the most consistent. Though I'm not the biggest fan of the constant coughing.
Jedi scum.
This was actually Lucas doing a cough, given he was suffering a bit of a cold at the time, and they decided to make it part of the character, not to mention explaining it in Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. Grievous to this day is one of the most loved villains in Star Wars, and left a great impression on audiences and fans, despite, like much other villains in this trilogy, feel like needing more with a premature death.
So uncivilized.
But this movie is called Revenge of the Sith for a reason, and it's not for the return of Darth Vader, nor Count Dooku, nor the villains as a whole, or even for the rise of the Empire, but it's called Revenge of the Sith for one reason only. It's the revenge of Darth Sidious, aka Chancellor Palpatine, aka the fucking Emperor.
It's you! It's you!
Yeah. Well, yes, kind of.
How could you, man? How could you?
At long last, the transformation is complete, as the Phantom Menace himself avenges the old lore of the Sith to take control of the galaxy. And all of that is credited to Ian McDiarmid in his best performance as the character.
You have great wisdom.
This is Palpatine's movie. He has full control of this picture and is an absolute delight to watch his evilness leak off the screen. Ian is having a fucking ball here. He is consuming so much of it, there is literally no scenery left to chew. Not even Tim Curry can chew this much scenery.
That can be arranged!
Though granted, he eventually played him in the Clone Wars series.
Let him die, and you can stop all that I will do. Ironic.
It's clear that George Lucas, while directing Ian in many important scenes with on-the-nose dialogue and delivery, he let him off the leash a little and let him go all out as the Sith Lord.
The Sith will rule the galaxy.
Very good.
From his sinister manipulation of Anakin, to playing the entire Senate, to his outlandish fight scenes with Mace Windu and Yoda, Palpatine is on top form, and just being evil and loving every minute of it. Not only does Ian act his heart out, but also return to the makeup chair in his transformation as we saw him in Return of the Jedi, but much more horrific and devil-looking. In fact, that was Lucas's intention here.
Palpatine represents the devil. He represents the pure evil.
Take the audience directly to hell and confronting, plus making a pact with the devil himself, which he succeeded in representation. Next to Tim Curry as the Lord of Darkness in Legend, if Anakin is Space Jesus, then Palpatine is Space Lucifer / Satan incarnate. And it's really chilling to watch, even if at times Ian is hamming it up a bit and being a tad silly.
I can't hold it any longer.
You're kind of having fun with him as you watch him. Not only that, poor Ian was described to by Lucas as his character being the fastest and most lethal saber wielder in the galaxy, which Ian couldn't do much of given his age. Nick Gillard and Kyle Rowling brought in a really good stunt double for Ian McDiarmid in Michael Burns, and with a last name like that, you know he's perfectly casted evil.
Or you can trade it all in for what's in this box.
The box! The box!
Who did the majority of the speed and swings in all of Palpatine's fight scenes, and did help in showcasing the lethal force of the Dark Lord of the Sith. All of this and more provided some of the character's best moments in the saga, but the captain of this ship still is fully credited to Ian McDiarmid being a class act as a true villain of cinema, plus one of my favorite bad guys of all time in the ultimate threat for the franchise as a whole.
Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi.
And yeah, I agree with most people that the Opera House scene is one of the best in the whole trilogy, and one of the best Star Wars moments in general. It hints so much, it sets up so much, it showcases how manipulative Palpatine is, it shows how vulnerable and weak Anakin is and his lust for power, and the symbolism in the opera itself does showcase in a way Anakin's origins and how the Force works with the midichlorian. In a way, Lucas kind of fixed that problem that was prominent in The Phantom Menace. And it's something that unfortunately I don't think even today Star Wars is really that interested in. In fact, they already proved it with The Acolyte.
Star Wars The Acolyte's the most disappointing thing since my last prostate exam. I told the doctor I couldn't shit for a week, and he didn't want to listen.
But maybe someday, Disney and perhaps Kathleen Kennedy can learn from their mistakes and actually give us something as powerful as a simple scene like this.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
And speaking of, let's talk about the fall of the Jedi, starting off with the wisest and Master Yoda. And this time around, the animators at ILM, led once again by animation director Rob Coleman, perfected the CG model, and I say he looks better and more refined here than in Episode 2. This time feeling much more like a physical puppet, namely in the close-ups, which to some degree the effects masters did take some risks in how close they could get, which to this day not only still looks great, but pretty damn impressive for 2005.
I agree, and a little more knowledge might light our way.
As for the character, Yoda is still great. He's not only given much more to do being a more prominent character in this one, but has a lot more action to show off. It's clear that Episode 2 was a real testing ground to showcase a lot of what this little creature could do at his full potential, and here we see it all at full force, pun intended, bar none. Yoda kicks some serious ass in this movie, from the clones to the Dark Lord himself, and Frank Oz once again delivers another great performance in voicing him, especially given at the time we thought this was it for Star Wars, and really allows us to see his teachings become more stern, but also his failure in the bridging of his exile till we see him again in The Empire Strikes Back. My only real issue is namely his costume, which to some degree doesn't really match the ragged outfit we see in Empire. It's a little too brown and not enough beige, but that's a minor nitpick, and doesn't take away from Yoda's overall arc and fate with some incredible visuals. The scene where he senses all his Jedi brothers and sisters being taken out is just heartbreaking, and it's said the animators were told to make it look like the poor little guy was having a heart attack, which was definitely the right way to go in this scene.
Look how sad.
Yeah, poor little Yoda. Poor little Yoda.
The less can be said, however, about the fate of Mace Windu, though. Now again, Sam Jackson is awesome, as he is in the first two, but this film, while giving him a spectacular lightsaber duel, given he's never really had a sword fight in this trilogy, he's again given less to do here than he did in film 2. It was pretty obvious from the first concepts that this character was doomed to die by the third film, and a lot of people assumed that Vader in costume would be the one to do the deed.
You swing too hard, ass!
But the structure of the story sadly didn't allow this fan idea to come true. Originally, one of the earliest pieces of concept art saw the return of Boba Fett donning his father's armor, joining Vader in the Jedi Temple to kill Mace Windu and avenge his father. But this idea was scrapped to give Mace a proper fight with Palpatine. On top of that, the scene went through many versions, including one with Anakin present and Palpatine stealing his lightsaber, hence the continuity errors seen throughout the fight. Which, there's a few in this movie. Seriously, why does Grievous have another version of Obi-Wan and Anakin's lightsaber? Those grips are supposed to be unique! But the most common cut was to see Anakin fight Windu, something that does happen in the video game, and is much more justified given Mace's character never seemed to favor Anakin since the first movie.
You have been tainted by the dark side. No! And you have failed the Jedi Order. No!
So there's a reason for Anakin not only to prove himself, but also to have a score to settle with Mace.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
Wait, you didn't trust me before? Hell no, motherfucker! Despite these concepts cut, Mace's overall fate is still well done, and you could tell for this final chapter that Sam Jackson had a lot of fun on this entire trilogy, even down to his death scene.
Nick, you're supposed to hang on.
Oh my God, I'm awake. It's morning.
And if you want to know if I think he lived or not, yeah, Sam Jackson recently confirmed it. Still waiting on that movie or TV show, Disney+.
What have I done?
With that said, the fate of all the Jedi is a hit or miss with me regarding characters. I will admit seeing all these unique Jedi fall is pretty heartbreaking, and at times a little disappointing in how they are dispatched. Especially the three that assist Mace Windu in apprehending Palpatine. Sensei Tin, Eth Koth, no wait, that's Aegon Carr.
Who?
And Kit Fisto are pretty much taken out like little bitches. Seriously, what the hell? I'll bring this up later, because there was a lot taken out here. However, its more positive visuals come from the haunting montage of Order 66, the ultimate part of Palpatine's plan, where the clones are installed with a microchip when voice-activated, mind wipes them to be more obedient and execute all the Jedi, cutting them off guard from their fellow soldiers. One of Lucas's influences in the rise of the Empire was the real-life dictators of Julius Caesar, and especially Adolf Hitler. And in this case, Order 66 is Palpatine's Night of the Long Knives, in which he takes out his primary adversaries in one foul swoop, igniting the genocide of the Jedi, so no one with superpowered abilities could stand against him, and it's the most tragic event of the film in both visual structure and the music. And from Jedi like Plo Koon, Ella Sakura, and yes, even Penis Head himself, Ki-Adi-Mundi, all die in this massive betrayal. Not to mention, the purge of the Jedi Temple is also a massive hit to the heart, with one of the coolest shots in the film, as Anakin, now Darth Vader, marches with the 501st to eliminate the Jedi. It's evil, but pure badass. Anakin goes through such a dark arc in this movie that you could practically do an AMV with Eminem's Lose Yourself, and it fits perfectly. I don't know why, just hearing that song as Anakin marches on the temple always gives me chills. The only issue I have is that this is supposed to leave the Jedi practically extinct with only 2 to 5 left in the galaxy. However, given the expanded universe lore, this would be retconned to 100. I'm sorry, but no, George, no. 5 or 10 I understand, but 100? Hell no! Come on! Again, I know I need to follow my rules and not rely on expanded universe lore, but I'm sorry, with so much of what's been going on with Star Wars and the constant changes and retcons, it becomes somewhat unavoidable. I know, characters like Ahsoka, Cal, Kanan, Grogu, and so on are so important, but Jesus Christ, how many Jedi need to survive Order 66 to where Palpatine's plan is practically devalued to nothing?
Your arrogance blinds you.
It's the same illogical reason as some of the choices with the droids in this trilogy.
What that?
Yes, once again, C-3PO and R2-D2 are back at it once again with their original actors. But outside of seeing 3PO in his full glory of gold plating...
Gold plating?
In the service of a senator, one must be presentable.
Now, the Earthlings at Kenner have asked my associate and me to present the Star Wars collection.
Whoa! Much like Padme, they are kinda pushed to the side with not much to do. And I think even 3PO perfectly sums up their presence in the movie.
I feel so helpless.
But while R2 is given the most screen time, as well as some fun action-oriented comedic skits in the beginning of the film, he's mostly CG, or at this point, a full-on RC robot, as technology had caught up with the droid tech of the original, making Kenny Baker kinda pointless to be here other than nostalgia value, and a character claim check. But much like 3PO being created by Vader, I'm kinda 50-50 on the whole R2 knows everything from episode 1 to 9 to some degree, mostly in the prequels. You'd think he'd know who Luke and Leia are and finally spill the beans to them at some point of their lineage. It makes no sense, and it was something that definitely made for a running gag on riff tracks with Star Wars.
R2-D2.
Hello. I stood next to your mother as she died.
But if 3PO and R2 were kind of pointless here, oddly enough, one of the bigger surprises in the film was the return of Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, long before his meeting with Han Solo. Though one of the actual early concepts that wasn't a joke, despite claims from Mr. Plinkett, was actually a cameo of a young Han Solo living with Chewie on his home planet. But thankfully that was scrapped. Though the Millennium Falcon does make a cameo on Coruscant despite this retcon in Solo, so it could be just another model of the same ship. Nerd! But seeing Chewbacca again was a fun time with helping Yoda along with his fellow Wookiee pal Tarful on the planet Kashyyyk. That's right, the same planet from the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special, which low-key is a guilty pleasure for me. And I kinda watch it every Christmas, not gonna lie.
I can't watch anymore.
I might as well talk about it briefly, given it is the holiday season. But the Star Wars Holiday Special was released in 1978 on TV and aired for one time, becoming this household legend in the franchise. So legendary, in fact, that they actually sell merchandise for this special at Galaxy's Edge on Life Day. Why? Because it's pretty damn bad, guys.
That's it, I'm turning back.
I know a lot of people bitch about the prequels and the sequel trilogy, but good lord, this is like the Room of Star Wars. It's so badly done, it's fucking hilarious.
Sir, whip, sir.
If you want a more digest version to watch it, I would highly recommend the Riff Tracks version. It really elevates it more.
Don't worry, son, they can't shoot straight and they're easy to kill.
But all in all, it's a big variety show, mainly focusing on Chewbacca's family, and having the cast, which are in the special, kind of put to the sidelines. And both Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford have the look of, I do not want to be here right now.
You're like family to me.
I don't want this fucking cringe in my sight again.
I know it's considered one of the lowest points of the franchise, but I still get a kick out of the Star Wars Holiday Special, and I tend to watch it every Christmas. So call me a fan in a way. Maybe someday I'll talk about it in more detail, but all in all, it's this hilarious high of the franchise. And if you're curious, I would say check it out. And considering I didn't get a chance to do a Christmas special this year, I guess you could say I was able to squeeze a little present for my fans. So overall, happy Life Day, I guess. But it was cool that despite Lucas's mission to destroy every copy of the holiday special,
it came out so bad. I hate it. I hate it.
George, remember what I said about controlling your emotions?
Yeah, can't fall to the dark side.
He included Kashyyyk here as a homage, along with being one of the early concepts for the original trilogy.
In the original screenplay, the Ewoks were Wookiees, and Chewbacca really wasn't the co-pilot. So I took the Wookiee out of the battles and made him the co-pilot.
And making it for an exciting battle scene as the final fight of the Clone Wars. The effects company Creatures, in affiliation with the artists of Stuart Freeborn, made about 10 additional Wookiee costumes for the battle, and when switching costumes and props, made the Wookiee army much bigger during the fight. But with this being the end of the Clone Wars, comes the end of some of our more consistent antagonists of the trilogy, mostly with Nute Gunray and the Trade Federation Separatists, and seeing them being slaughtered by Vader is not just satisfying, but to a degree, brutal and too far, which I think was the intent. All were just pawns in Palpatine's massive game of space chess in manifesting the Empire with, of course, a chilling speech.
The Republic will be reorganized into the First Galactic Empire!
This scene is not only horrifying, but is actually a homage in terms of editing for Lucas to his friend Francis Ford Coppola's iconic film The Godfather, in which Michael's baby is baptized while having all of his enemies annihilated in cold blood. Something that even doesn't sit well with Bail Organa. Someone I think I need to finally talk about. Bail Organa has been prominent since episode 2 in a small supporting role for Senator Amidala, played by the wonderfully talented Jimmy Smits, though his character at one point was in The Phantom Menace, played by Adrian Dumber.
Alderaan seconds the motion for a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum.
but his scenes were ultimately cut, renamed to Bail Antilles, and Organa was eventually recasted in Episode 2 with Jimmy Smits respectively. And by Episode 3, he's given more to do, despite his scenes with Padme and Mon Mothma being cut.
At this point, some things are better left unsaid.
Agreed.
He acts as more of a rebellious opposed to Palpatine's rising power, and even friends the likes of Anakin along with his secret wife. I guess in a way, this is something that probably Padme would have originally had in her action-oriented roles, but again, paternity leave, you can see why they replaced it with Bail Organa, and then this film gave him more of an introduction for the audiences who would eventually see him as Leia's father. It also does suck that he had an action scene with the clones that was cut, but he does also command the introduction of the Tantive 4, the iconic Rebel ship, first seen in the opening of the original Star Wars, with a full set rebuilt from the blueprints of the original. Even if the organizing of the Rebels was left out, you do see the makings of the Alliance, with Bail's commands and rescuing Jedi survivors from the Clone Army traitors.
Hopefully we'll be able to intercept a few Jedi before they walk into this catastrophe.
And with that said, let's talk about the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars is one of the most prominent historical moments of the Star Wars universe. While the expanded universe covers the deep lore, mapping, and timeline of the war, the films don't really have time to go into too much detail, even though Lucas had planned the film to open with 10 battles in the war to set up the story. But because the film needed to be more simplified, he cut it down to the Coruscant battle, which takes up the first 30 minutes of the movie, as one continuous adventure, and with one of the best space battles of the series. So much is going on, from starships, fighters, and droids, even the kitchen sink is thrown in there. I'm not kidding, Lucas confirmed it in the commentary.
The ILMer said there was so much in this shot that there was everything in it but the kitchen sink.
So now we put a kitchen sink.
It's a blast of full color to see the war at full blaze, with even foreshadowing vehicles of the original trilogy. The Clones Arc 170 Starfighter is a prototype of the X-Wing, and the V-Wings and Jedi Starfighters reflect the TIE Fighters of the Empire. The entire battle is a ton of fun, and a great way to bring the audience in with a dash of flair and of action not seen since Episode 4. It's an awesome opening scene with actually one of the longest special effects shots in cinema history, as we follow Anakin and Obi-Wan throughout the battle. A huge risk for the production, and indeed a challenge, but an impressive opening nonetheless.
This is where the fun begins.
We also see one of the more prominent clones of the franchise in the awesome Battle of Utapau, with Commander Cody, played by Temuera Morrison. Remember, they're all clones of Jango Fett, so Temuera had his work cut out for him this time around. But the conflicts between them and the droid armies are fantastic in this movie, even making for the best Star Wars game of all time. But more on that later. For many fans, including myself, with the vast rumors on the internet of the plot seeing the siege of Coruscant in the trailers, actually made us think this would have been the climax of the film to showcase the chaos of all sides of the war manifested by Palpatine. But that was not the case for George Lucas this time around in writing the script. In fact, production on this film went full steam ahead right after the release of Episode 2, with production beginning in Australia at Fox Studios a full year later on June 30th, 2003.
Good luck, everybody. Kick some ass. Let's do this in 60 days.
With Lucas turning in the first draft being delivered on April 10th, less than 2 months before shooting.
There you go. A first draft. Official first draft. Of course, there's a lot of cheating in there. A lot of they fight.
With the final draft being delivered a month later after shooting began.
I have rewritten, I spent the whole weekend rewriting the scene between you and Palpatine, where you turn.
Yeah.
And I've added some more to that.
This is where you could see why the scripts feel a little rusty. While Lucas wrote the first rough draft after Attack of the Clones, he took his time on it. The problem was he was approving designs and sets were being built without a finished script in sight, making many on the production worried that the third film might crash the landing.
God help me. I'm gonna have to start this script pretty soon.
But Lucas was confident in his vision, and to keep things moving, he brought on an uncredited assistant director to help in some of the pre-visualization of the animatics to lock down key scenes. That actually being, surprisingly, Lucas's longtime partner and best friend, Steven Spielberg, who was almost given the directing duties on Return of the Jedi. Hell, how have we gone this long in the series and not have him direct a Star Wars movie? But to come back, previs being a CG format of storyboarding was created for Episode 2 and has become a main source of storyboarding films today, as Peter Jackson, at the same time the prequels were being developed, was loaned the technology to previs The Lord of the Rings after producer Rick McCallum came to visit New Zealand during the trilogy's pre-production stages.
And so Rick said, look, if you're ever in the States, come by and visit, and we'll show you what we've done. And so we were in San Francisco and visited the ranch.
Rick McCallum and George Lucas have been incredibly helpful to him and to the rest of us in terms of just, offering him advice with some of these new approaches that they were doing. Peter really grabbed a hold of this idea.
And that's what previs is for, to help Peter create his vision.
Oh yeah, I should probably talk about this guy.
It's so dense, every single image has so many things going on.
Rick McCallum, next to George Lucas, is someone we really need to thank in managing this trilogy. As the producer sitting in the position of the original trilogy's producers and head of Fox, Alan Ladd Jr. and Gary Kurtz, Rick was Lucas's right-hand man who oversaw all three films' production and the cost of all of it, which Lucas financed himself with how much he made in the last 20 years on the original trilogy and merchandise sales.
Hello? Dude, I'm so f***ing happy.
He also was the producer of the special edition re-releases, overseeing the film's restoration in preparation for the prequels. From what I've been told, he's a nice guy and a very optimistic person on set, which most movies could benefit from despite the pressure of release. And on this one, the production ran for a max of 60 days in the summer of 2003, and with the script constantly being rewritten, this also meant pickups and reshoots the following year of 2004, as Lucas was once again cutting while shooting with new digital technology. But unlike the first two, which traveled to real locations, Lucas cut costs down by filming all of the film on sound stages in Sydney and Elstree Studios in London for pickups, the same stages that were used in the original trilogy. But we're all at this point 90% blue or green screens. No joke, not one scene was fully made and expanded with this technology via CGI. Lucas had full faith in creating an entirely digital movie for the first time ever. And yes, I will admit this takes away a lot of the realism of the film, with not much in practical effects and sets. However, I will admit this push was not just needed, but still damn impressive today. It's actually incredibly seamless how well the compositing of shots look in the entire film while using blue or green screen. Nowadays this would age out, granted episode 1 had one of the worst blue screen effects in the entire trilogy, and you'd see the matte lines or the fake lighting. But Lucas did everything to ensure the highest quality composites were presented, and he delivered 100%. And that credit has to go to the amazing effects talents at ILM, who once again had a lot of projects due that year, from this film, War of the Worlds, and The Chronicles of Narnia in collaboration with Weta Workshop and Digital, a first for the two effects houses.
Numbers do not win a battle. I bet they help.
Rob Coleman led the charge in the digital characters and compositing, as well as the continued use of models, miniatures, and matte paintings by some of the original effects artists going back to the first Star Wars. But a major positive to ILM that I will say is watching the film for its 20th anniversary is just looking at the amazing backgrounds, most notably on Coruscant. The amount of detail in the CG ships and buildings is absolutely spectacular. I don't know if it was done with miniatures or full CGI this time around, but my god is it impressive. There's a lot of reflections of cities like New York and Chicago thrown in there, and you swear to god they put buildings from the actual cities in there. And even if they did, it's pretty damn stunning in how beautiful the visuals look in the great city planet of the galaxy. Sadly, though, this was the first Star Wars movie not to get an Oscar nomination for visual effects, but it was nominated for Best Makeup, but lost to Narnia that year. But granted, Jackson's King Kong did win for effects and sound, which was a plus at the time. But the effects are part of the many tools used to bring all the action and excitement to Episode 3, with so many battles and explosive action scenes. All are more thrilling than the last. and some actually considered a little more violent than the previous entries of the series, making it the first Star Wars movie to gain a PG-13 rating, which at the time was a major controversy of discussion for the press due to the film's darker tone, excessive violence, and graphic content. I remember a few news outlets talking about this, from Variety magazine, and even 60 Minutes put Lucas on the spot about it.
I would take a 9 or a 10-year-old to it, or 11, but I don't think I would take a 5 or a 6-year-old to this. It's way too strong. I could pull it back a little bit, but I don't really want to.
But the rating didn't stop family audiences from flocking to the theaters that summer to see all the action, from the ranks of the Clone Wars, and one of the film's biggest highlights, the sheer variety of spectacular lightsaber duels. Given this was considered the final film of the saga, Lucas went all out in essentially lightsaber fan service to make the film more entertaining, and that credit is given its final bow with Nick Gillard and the stunt team, who prepped way in advance in the choreography and pace of the fights, with Hayden being there full-time in advance. I'd highly recommend checking out Nick Gillard's YouTube channel to see the sheer amount of awesome rehearsal footage he's uploaded, with some moves never making it to the final cut. The fight scenes in this are flashy and fun, with a grand total of 5 outstanding duels plus more, making it the most lightsaber fights in any of the movies. But do the fights match up in quality? Well, let's take a look. The first fight is a rematch between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Count Dooku. While they fight many of times during the events of the Clone Wars, Anakin with the most tallying at 6 during the war, the movie doesn't really make that clear. This fight feels like they have not fought in years, not since Geonosis, given it focuses on the Jedi's intent to not make the same mistakes within the dialogue and how they approach Dooku.
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count.
Okay! Now I'm convinced Lucas watches Dragon Ball, because as Mark would say,
who talks like this?
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Frieza. Good. Twice the pride, double the monkey! Though, fun side fact, George Lucas was once offered the director's chair of the live-action Dragon Ball movie with 20th Century Fox once he finished the prequels. Though that didn't end up happening and we got Dragon Ball Evolution instead. But seriously, imagine the possibilities of him directing it with a big-scale budget. Though I'd be questioning the dialogue too.
Grandpa! I'm so happy to see you!
You will go to the Dagobah system.
Still, this is obviously one of the first fights planned, given how simple it is compared to the rest. Sort of the last of the traditional duels of the prequel era, and mirrors the final duel of the original trilogy.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
And with one of the most chilling kills of the series. And one of the best Palpatine lines.
Do it.
Great stuff. Then there's the one that's the most ridiculous. The absolute batshit insane fight as Obi-Wan takes on his Clone Wars arch-nemesis, General Grievous. As we see... Jesus Christ! I don't care how over the top this is, it's fucking awesome! This shit is not only tense, but lethal, as even with his own lightsaber, Obi-Wan can hold his own at 4, as the two stand toe-to-toe, cutting each other into pieces. While there was no actor on set outside of a morph suit stuntman standing in for the choreography, this fight in terms of special effects is pretty damn impressive. Despite, again, some serious continuity issues with Grievous's lightsabers. Again, Anakin and Obi-Wan's lightsabers are supposed to be unique! Why the fuck does he still have them, and why do you keep changing colors between the shots?! At least Obi-Wan said the thing.
Hello there.
Where the over-the-top doesn't make sense is in the next fight with Palpatine, the Jedi, and especially Mace Windu. Mainly because, what I said before, the original cut of the scene. And the continuity issues with Palpatine using Anakin's lightsaber. Look, you can even see the hilt up close in shots like this! What the hell hell is going on with the continuity and prop departments? It was even in the action figure.
You've got a little bit of a continuity gap to bridge there.
Continuity my ass, John Knoll! Go back to pitching Rogue One! But because this part of the film felt a little rushed on Anakin's turn, the entire structure of this part of the movie was reworked in pickups to film time in between and done in London in 2004. But even during the original principal photography, the fight, while choreographed ahead of time, was mostly going to use stunt doubles. But Lucas insisted on using Sam and Ian for close-ups, meaning they had to learn the choreography at the last minute.
I'm watching, baby. Back up. Got my hands going. All right.
Making the fight feel a tad choppy at times. Though, from the start, again, another great Palpy meme.
It's treason, then.
Good lord, does every Force Master know how to do that Tasmanian devil spin? This is fucking stupid!
Well, I think we can do a digital face, but I don't think we can do it like, in a waist shot.
And with those close-ups, I'm sorry, these faces are hilarious. Stop. Jeez, seriously, I can't. I'm acting!
I am the Senate. Not yet.
Well, not yet is true to the attempt Master Yoda makes in destroying the new promoted Emperor Palpatine in the second final battle intercut with Anakin and Obi-Wan. It was smart for Lucas to give us double the fun in the climax and showcases two of the most powerful Jedi and Sith masters engage in a wizard's duel of sorts with lightsabers, and it's a lot of fun with both Yoda being a badass and Palpatine being an absolute creep of death.
I have waited a long time for this moment.
One of my favorite parts of the movie is actually the moment where the two duke it out on the platform that brings them to the empty Senate Hall. With the incredible wide shots and impressive digital doubles, not to mention the music, it really showcases the final battle for the soul of the galaxy. But the true fight of the film, and the highlight for all Star Wars fans, is the final duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, now knighted Darth Vader. For many fans, this is the best scene in any Star Wars movie, and to some extent, I agree. For almost 30 years, ever since Obi-Wan's words in the original film, we all wondered what this throwdown was going to look like and how it went, and Lucas delivered with flying colors in one of the most painstaking, grueling sword fights ever put to film. The power, the strikes, the blocks, the moves, and most notably, the speed was all done for real by both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. Both brothers in arms turned enemies trained for 2 solid months to prep for this fight, and both just flew through it with amazing grace and skill.
Whoa, fingers!
It was all everyone involved wanted to put the most effort into to please the fans and audiences, making it the most visually impressive spectacle in the entire trilogy, as the two duke it out in Lucas's adaptation of hell.
Do you actually take us down, in the biblical sense, into hell?
Yes.
The lava.
The lava at the end
is hell.
Yes, it ends in hell.
Not to mention, the special effects on Mustafar are also spectacular, using not just high-quality digital effects, but also impressive miniatures and real volcanoes. I'm not kidding. Unfortunately, much like Plinkett stated, where they did not use real locations of volcanoes for the actors to fight on, unlike Lord of the Rings, where Peter Jackson took Sean Astin and Elijah Wood up the steps of a real volcano to shoot Mount Doom, luck came to the production in late 2002 as Mount Etna erupted violently in Italy. Lucas contacted his second unit team to get the first shots of the film, outside of the ending that was shot in Tunisia during episode 2, where the crew went to the heart of the mountain to film hours of Etna's eruption to be used for volcanic elements on Mustafar, making the scenes and fight to some degree more practical than some give the film credit for. I'd highly recommend the incredibly detailed documentary Within a Minute, which showcases every aspect and department in the production that took credits not just in the film, but the fight itself, namely only 1 minute of it and all the pieces that had to be put in place for all involved. It shows such a level of care and detail everyone had to make this final fight spectacular, and it really is overall a visual marvel, especially in the music. John Williams delivers his final bow with the prequel trilogy and goes all out with a bang with tense action cues and a tragic yet haunting score that adds so much to the final film. So many themes add so much weight to the movie, namely the sequel track to Duel of the Fates with Battle of the Heroes, making music of the awe-enduring fight between the two fallen friends. If Duel of the Fates is epic, Battle of the Heroes is a tragedy. While enhancing that epic choir in Duel, it's a more fallen vocal here. Something Lucas always planned since Duel of the Fates was made on episode 1.
I think it's going to work. I mean, you didn't realize this, but it really goes into the third film very well, and I think it'll be an important thing to reprise. I mean, that definitely has the quality of the inevitable fate of Doom.
And while I love this track with a fiery passion, I do prefer Duel of the Fates more, and John Williams didn't shy away from including it here as a reprise for the trilogy for the fight with Yoda and Sidious. He also included the track Clash of the Lightsabers from the duel on Bespin between Luke and Vader in The Empire Strikes Back, and it really works here to tie everything together, especially given it was one of the main tracks of all 3 prequel trailers.
Fear is the path to the dark side. With in grave danger you are.
Many themes from all 6 films are showcased here and there in the movie, the ending mostly taking a lot from the original film to tie it all together. But with new themes, the 2 that stick out the most for me is first off General Grievous's theme, which gives a lot of power to the character. And the saddest of the film is Anakin's betrayal / dark deeds, used during Order 66 and Anakin's path to the dark side. Seriously, this thing's a tearjerker. But I'll also give credit to one track that a lot of fans really like, and that's in the scene where Padme and Anakin have a psychic link between where they're staying on Coruscant, as a metaphoric reminder that this is the last night the Republic ever saw daylight. It's visually impressive, it's acted silently through these 2 amazing talents, and John Williams is just giving us that creepy, haunting feeling that the ball is about to drop. It's fucking chilling, and extremely powerful. The soundtrack is widely available, as well as the film on DVD, which I will never forget getting from my mom in November 2005. However, it wasn't released in North America on VHS, making a lot of fans upset that they could not complete their collections. This was at the time the death of VHS began, as DVD and Blu-ray took over the home video market. This was also a change in food marketing, as Pepsi dropped out after episode 1, and it was Burger King who took over fast food promotions, with an awesome lot of toys to promote the movie. May have gone too far in a few places. Not to mention a huge marketing push by M&M's Candy. And from the traditional round of toys, Lego, and other merchandise, they made a toy out of the meme. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? They made a fucking toy of that meme. Including an awesome video game adaptation for the latest home and handheld consoles, supervised by Nick Gillard, and even Hayden Christensen helped out, given he's a huge gamer. It's actually a really great game and worth checking out, along with one of the best Star Wars video games of all time, and one of my favorite games in general. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Not that EA piece of shit. The original Pandemic. Not that one either. To this day, I can still get on this game 20 years later and marvel at how well it's made. Maybe someday a full-on review may come to pass, but I could say so much more on it. The detail, the character sprites, the gameplay, the excitement of it all, it really is a game that makes you feel like you've stepped in the heart of Star Wars, and I can't get enough of it. But back to Revenge of the Sith. It was the last of an era for fans to collect high-quality products, and personally, there was something about this era of the franchise marketing that I will always be fond of, and remember with so much joy and anticipation for each film.
What is this? What is this? What? What?
And anticipation, in my opinion, is why the prequels will live on in infamy for some as a disappointment, and that overall comes down to something I've talked about with all three films, with the structure of the story. And Episode 3 is no exception in a few of the problems I have with this final chapter. As anticipation began right away after Episode 2, it started off with a pretty damn impressive fan-filmed trailer using LEGO kits from Attack of the Clones that gave many a visual preconception. And it said that this trailer is what birthed for fans the speculated title of Rise of the Empire. There were many theories and preconceptions of what the film would be for fans, much like the last two, and this one was no exception, as the clock ticked to the film's release. Many of these speculations in of themselves were actually pretty cool, with one of the wildest rumors being Palpatine already finished a prototype of the main weapon of the Death Star, and would use Naboo as a test subject for the weapon's destructive path.
Hey folks, viewer mail time again. Ahem, this one says, "Dear Pig, you may fire when ready." Well, the answer to that is...
This is also where fans assumed Anakin and Obi-Wan's final battle would be set up, making it the Mustafar duel meets Dragon Ball Z, where either one dies or both die, adding tension to the fight itself. There was also hints of what would come from the novelization of Return of the Jedi, and interviews with Lucas himself. Hell, a lot of amazing fan art came out waiting for this one, like I said, surfing on the web in the early days of the internet. One of the coolest was this one, showcasing Anakin's knighting of Darth Vader in the suit itself. Something that, in my opinion, on this film, we needed more of. It's clear with how fast production went that Lucas not only needed more time, but more drafts to better structure the story. I also know a lot of people feel that with the entire 6-part saga, that Anakin doesn't really deserve redemption, given he participated in many of genocide, committed his own murders, and did so many atrocities throughout the galaxy. But Lucas's intention was to give Anakin a redemption arc, and to some degree, I think he succeeded.
There's always this good in you. At this point. The good part is saying, what am I doing? And the bad part is saying, I'm doing this for Padme, I'm doing this for us, and it'll be better for the universe, it'll be better for everybody. You know, but there's always this little part in you is saying, what am I doing?
I know a lot of people disagree, but just in comparison, look at Kohaku in Inuyasha, a young boy destined by his family to become a demon slayer, slaughters his own family in cold blood, constantly tries to murder his sister, all because he was under the possession of Naraku and the Sacred Jewel Shard. Again, Darth Naraku sounds fucking awesome, but my point being, why is that okay, and this is not okay? They're both practically the same story and tell the same redemption arc. So in a way, I do feel like a story like this could be told, and I think Lucas did a good job with that. Many fans know this would showcase the transformation of Anakin to Vader, and most hope to see more of Vader in the suit with the additional awesome dialogue from James Earl Jones. Even if not the suit we would see, at least a prototype of making it more like samurai armor to better confirm that Anakin is Darth Vader. But sadly, this would not come to pass as we would hope, with Vader in costume making only an extensive cameo at the end of the film. The suit was completely redesigned to not only be asymmetrical, but also a hybrid of the suits prior, mainly from A New Hope and Jedi. But with the continuity of changing the suits in each and every entry, it's probably a given that Vader's suit actually acts like the Batman suit, where it varies mission to mission. And in this film, Vader's suit looks cool, massive, and fresh. Kinda like C-3PO's costume.
Leave this dreadful place.
For the time, it was pretty cool to see again. But dialogue-wise... poor James Earl Jones. years for this? No fight with Windu, no taking on 50 Jedi at once, no showing his potential with the dark side of the Force, just a Frankenstein reference with a painful line delivery? Honestly, the comic book adaptation I read before the film's release, yeah, I spoiled myself. Hell, LEGO Star Wars even spoiled it, sounded way better in my head. It was rage, it was anger, it was a sense of being completely tainted by the malice of evil. Now that's a special edition change I could follow. It didn't sound like this! The audiences weren't sad nor petrified, they were laughing their asses off. How could they do this to one of the most iconic villains of cinema? Darth fucking Vader! It's the one thing you weren't supposed to mess up, George!
She was alive. I felt it.
I was fine with all that transpired that created him. But this just killed it all at once! Seriously, I've said this so many times in this review, but what the actual hell? Oh, shut up! I even have a problem with Vader's pre-suit. Namely the fact that he did not, by this point, obtain his iconic red lightsaber. They even had a brand new version of it made, and it's barely, if not ever, seen in the film. Again, only seen in some of the video games and even the toy of it teased the idea of his saber bleeding red. Something that would not really be a thing until Disney acquired the rights. Hell in universe, it makes no sense.
Your anger and your lust for power have already done that.
If he's engulfed by the dark side, wouldn't that in turn make his blue crystal bleed? Ah, fuck it, I'll just go watch the many re-edits on YouTube. On top of that, his knighting is my biggest problem, mainly because it feels so goddamn rushed. Now granted, Lucas's intention was to show the visual metaphor in seeing a pact with the devil, sort of the Star Wars version of Spider-Man One More Day, but actually this movie writes it better. Point on you, Lucas.
He's a nice guy up to now, and we like him a lot. And we are going to watch him turn to the devil.
We're going to watch him make a pact with the devil.
But if we work together, I know we can discover the secret.
But that's not the main core. It's mostly in its execution and how Palpatine basically came up with the name Vader. By pulling it out of his ass!
Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
What? You motherfucker! Give me the background on why! That's what I was waiting for! What the fuck?
Through.
Like it was no reason!
Yeah, you'd think names like Maul or Tyrannus or Bane or Sidious or Vader had some weight and meaning to them. But no Sith just drops them like a pack of M&Ms! Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth... I can't think of something great here. Darth Malice? No, that's too obvious. Darth, oh god, I can't even think of a name right now. Hey, Sidious, do you want to go to the mall? Not now, please stop now, go back to your cave. Maul, yes, that's it. You shall be known as Darth Maul. I think that'd be a better name for me, Master. Do you prefer that, or everybody, when this movie comes up, mispronounces it as Mule?
That's Mule.
Oh, it is. Very good. Good! Alright, Dooku, you have proven yourself to be my next apprentice. Clearly calling you Count Dooku would not be as intimidating, although given the fact that Dooku is actually a Japanese name and also it sounds like Dookie, so henceforth you shall be known as Darth... Oh, god damn it! Excuse me, Palpatine, would you like to go to the museum and see some dinosaurs? Who the fuck let you in, woman? Get out of here! Go find me a Tyrannosaurus or something. Oh, yes, that's it, Dooku. Henceforth you shall be known as Darth Tyrannus. Yes, even though nobody will ever call you that except for the merchandise, but who cares? Darth Tyrannus. Yeah, now we're cooking.
A powerful Sith, Anakin, you will become. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth... Oh, for God's sakes, I can never think of a fucking name for these things! Oh, screw this, I'm gonna take some space death stick pot and smoke my vape. Yes, Vapor! Darth Vapor, yes! That sounds really lame, Master. Okay, screw it, I'm gonna change a letter in the word then. Vader! Darth Vader. Yes, rise, my apprentice, and we shall bring peace to the Empire. It sounds like you always pull these names out of your ass, Master. Shut up! Now watch as I make you my little gimp bitch by putting you in a kid's oven. Arise, Darth Easy Bake Oven! Ha!
Yeah, we're making something new with Easy Bake, really baking. I can bake a real cake. Decorating. Wait till you see what I can make. M&M's cakes. They're so fun to do. And colors for you. My favorite candy is now a yummy cake, cause we're really cooking with Easy Bake. Easy Bake Oven and M&M's brand sets sold separately. Light bulb not included. Use stuff from home. Adult assembly required.
We've decided not to join the dark side.
We'll start Monday.
New dark chocolate M&M's.
Seriously, a lot of this final film needed some reworkings or to keep the many scenes cut put back in, which originally the first cut, like I said before, ran about 3 to 4 hours long, with extended plot points, scenes, and alternate moments. A lot outside of the Rebel origins was completely cut from the film to tighten the pace and story. Sadly, only 37 minutes out of the hour and 40 cut was released to the public, leaving close to the other hour locked away in the archives at Lucasfilm. Something die-hard fans have been desperate to obtain, with many new mass extended cuts being created and restored, even including episodes of the Clone Wars, to pad out the missing hour. It's clear this film made many wishing for a little more at the time and begging for more of a Return of the King in terms of scale and pacing. Maybe someday these scenes will be released, but I doubt it with Lucasfilm's firm grips on the IP, and especially in the denied unaltered original trilogy. Though the first cut of Star Wars made it on a recent streaming service.
They are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take them away!
And like I said in episode 2, the politics are definitely a major part of the prequels. But if you want a really good analysis on the politics of Star Wars, check out How Liberty Dies on YouTube. It's one of the best essays I've ever seen on Star Wars as a whole.
We must let the wheels of the Senate turn.
However, upon its re-release, a lot of people, the young generation especially, seem to have claimed this movie as being a political allegory of today. Like as if Star Wars predicted the future or something.
Careful you must be when sensing the future, Anakin.
But, I'm sorry kids, this is Star Wars, not The Simpsons.
Worst cosmic wars ever. I will only see it 3 more times. Today.
Yeah, sure, there's some very concerning parallels with today. Not to mention some jabs at the Bush administration, but it wasn't really a full-on narrative. It was mostly in episode 2, but episode 3 it goes back to basics. And considering all franchises have to be modernly political, there's a quote from Peter Jackson about J.R.R. Tolkien that I want to bring up here, and I definitely will in the future.
I think to apply modern political thinking on a story that is essentially 50 years old is a little bit inappropriate.
But, to be honest, I'm gonna swallow my words here because looking at the current state of today, especially the last few months, yeah, I can see the parallels a little bit, and it's getting kinda scary, I'm not gonna lie. Especially with Andor Season 2.
The death of truth is the ultimate victory of evil. The monster who will come for us all soon enough is Emperor Palpatine.
It may not have been George's intention, but that's what reevaluating certain movies is for, and finding new meaning in old forms of art. I know a lot of people are really scared of today's world, but if we are going to make the parallels to Star Wars, just know that A New Hope will probably be on the horizon in the near future.
So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
And like I said in episode 2, I'm conflicted on the aspects of the entire meme culture this prequel trilogy instigated. it's one thing to poke a movie on the internet. I mean, fuck, look at my job, for God's sakes.
Well, already the credits are terrible.
Don't review it!
But it's another thing to recite those memes and jokes in a crowded theater. Don't get me wrong, I love the prequel memes, I love the YouTube poops. And I love how these movies have had quote after quote incited in different contexts for humorous effect. But for some people, these prequel memes can be a little too much. And if you know the movies line for line, beat for beat, you know exactly when the audience is gonna drop an applause at a meme moment.
Hello there.
But I'll give them credit, if it brings the fans together for a giant screening, I'm all for it. And seeing the reactions online shows that this movie is more beloved than ever thanks to the memes. Though I do question applauding at some really disturbing moments. While this movie has a few problems, if not more so than the other two, I will admit there is a lot of time and care given by George Lucas in tying it back to Episode 4, A New Hope. Mostly in the ending, with the exception of cutting the scene of Yoda landing on his exile on Dagobah. But all in all, in the last act is a grand-scale tragedy with the rise of the Empire and the death of Anakin. But also something that over time, I think the film has an unintentional advantage of for audiences' reactions with the birth of Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. And in my opinion, are a more powerful shocker than Empire Strikes Back. A long time ago, it was argued in which way new audiences would experience the Star Wars saga as a whole, and how you would watch it, whether it be in release order or chronologically. If in release, you managed to capture the essence of what many first seeing Star Wars experienced in 1977 onwards. But if you watch it chronologically, it technically takes a long time to get to that original trilogy, if you count the shows in between, and even just the prequels potentially altering new fans to the wonders of the originals, now classics. While I was in the camp of originals first, I've noticed a change in audiences' perception and enjoyment of the saga by watching it in order, and I feel like Revenge of the Sith has the best, if not more shocking twists than Empire Strikes Back. Off character for a sec, after Episode 1's re-release in 2024, my girlfriend was immediately invested in watching the rest actually, really enjoying Episode 2, something I have not seen in a positive light since I saw it in theaters. And by Episode 3, she was shocked and saddened by Anakin's turn. She knew something was gonna happen, but was surprised at how dark it actually got. And halfway through the movie, we had to turn it off due to the twists actually upsetting her investment in the story. We eventually picked it up the following night, and by the end, she was incredibly saddened by Anakin's fall.
Sir, will you please stop staring at me?
Where's the rest of you?
And it's something I see more and more in those who have never watched Star Wars, especially newcomers and generations embrace it more than when the prequels were released. Unlike the reactions to I Am Your Father seemingly shoehorned in to get reactions from kids by their parents on YouTube.
I am your father.
What? What?
I am your father.
Really?
Reactions to Vader's knighting is more genuine for newcomers and is actually more fun to watch than flip out at such a dark twist. Not only seeing the hero of the film fall, but then putting together he would become one of the most iconic villains in all of pop culture? The mind is 100% blown every time.
He's Darth Vader! Are you fucking kidding me?
No! No, no, no!
Fuck off. Fuck off. No way. He's Darth Vader? What the hell? What? What? Bullshit.
No, it's true.
What? You're a stupid idiot! Oh my god! This just reveals everything! Now the wife is... What? You are insane! This is stupid!
But that's not the only twist. For me, it's actually actually both hilarious and fun to see people suddenly put 2 and 2 together when the birth of the twins occurs, and it's clear Lucas planned this for next-gen audiences. At the start of the film, when Padme tells Anakin she's pregnant, they only refer to it as, quote-unquote, the baby.
I can go early and fix up the baby's room. And the baby?
I came to see if you and the baby are safe.
Forget about the baby.
But then by the end, the plot thickens when the medical droid addresses the S.
She's carrying twins. We got twins! Twins!
For many who are new to the series, yes, it's no avoiding the pop cultural status of characters like Vader and Luke Skywalker, which when you connect the dots, it's obvious. The I am your father is by this point known to the viewer. Not to mention, being one of the most quoted lines of cinema does not help hide the spoiler. It's the same thing with the Planet of the Apes movies constantly showing the twist with the Statue of Liberty on the covers of the fucking original film.
You maniac!
However, the mind is blown an extra twist when the second sibling after Luke's name is dropped.
It's a go.
No! What? This ain't Game of Thrones! There's not supposed to be incest!
What? Hold on 1 second. Luke and Leia? Like Princess Leia?
No. They're brother and sister?
Luke! Wait! That's incest! That's incest!
Oh my god! They're twins.
Now that's mind-blowing how this film basically combines the twist of both Empire and Jedi into more of a cohesive whole, leaving many thrilled, shocked, and ultimately sad that this was the end of the story. Back in 2005. The other thing a lot of fans complain about is Padme's death and how it's presented. That Palpatine is killing her through the dark side of the Force or whatever during this scene, or that Anakin's chokehold was so strong her lungs gave out, and while that's the more scientific medical reason why she passed away, the whole thing about her losing the will to live honestly isn't that far-fetched. I actually don't see a problem with it because, well, given what actually happened to Carrie Fisher in real life, let alone her own mother, it's not too far-fetched that Padme would die of similar circumstances, losing someone she truly loved.
Amy says she died of a burst ventricle, but I know she died of a broken heart.
Seeing episode 3 on opening weekend was a sight to behold for me at 13, and by the end of the film, I'm not gonna lie, I actually cried at the end. It was such a nice wrap-up of the tragic, sad ending for many characters, and mostly the realization that at the time, this was the last Star Wars movie.
Miss you, I will.
And while I and many of my generation enjoyed it, the older fans were pretty much done at this point. While episode 3 did make a shitload of money, becoming one of the highest grossing films of the year, though unfortunately it was beaten out by Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which in my opinion is one of the worst entries of the series, for how fucking boring it is.
Piss off.
And as of 2025, it's become one of the highest grossing re-releases of all time. Well, I'm glad I contributed to that. Oh well. But for the fans, this was it. They were done after this. It was pretty much an obligation to see this final film, and while many came out pretty satisfied, some fans did have a lot of problems like they did with the last 2 films. It clearly shows that this trilogy was overall not made for the older audiences that grew up with the original trilogy.
I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist.
This was made for mainly the new kids on the block, the millennials like myself. And George Lucas was correct on that. If you watch the Light and Magic documentary in season 2, they actually finally break their silence on the hate the prequels got. And George Lucas proudly said to his crew, wait 20 years and you'll see a difference. And guess what? He was correct. Many people 20 years later now praise these movies to be on par with the original trilogy, if not somewhat better. Now, do I agree with that statement that they're better than the original trilogy? No, the original trilogy is still the best, but the prequels do have their merits, they do have their entertainment, and they overall have a lot of weight to carry in its story, theming, and its characters. With all 6 films, there's a cohesive story. There's some roadblocks and some plot holes to be sure, but its overall structure is pretty solid. And episode 3, for a while, was that final closing chapter that linked everything together. It could have been this grand epic on par with Return of the King at a 4-hour length that talked about everything from the rise of the Empire, the birth of Darth Vader, the birth of the Rebel Alliance, and even the creation of the Death Star. But while it didn't deliver everything, honestly, I think James Rolfe said it best in his review.
It was as if Lucas had 2 strikes and then a home run.
No one ever expected more nor less the potential of episodes 7 and 9 ever coming to pass.
What if someone else beside you came to you and said, I want to make episode 7? Could you see that happening?
No.
No, absolutely, positively, you're really closing the door without any wiggle room whatsoever.
Right. There is no episode 7.
Do you want the Star Wars trilogy and the mythology to go beyond your lifetime?
No. I've worked it out to where when I do it, in terms of the films that I'm doing, this will be the next film, 3 will be the last film, and it'll be a 6-part series, and that'll be the end of it. You know, I just want to keep that special. I don't want to have it just sort of turn into Star Trek.
That one didn't age quite so well.
For many of us, this was it. The end. The final chapter. As the tagline promoted, the saga is complete. It was time to say goodbye and move on to other big things, letting this saga go on as a legacy in cinema and one of the greatest stories ever told in the modern age. And many still see it that way. Will I be looking into the Disney era sometime soon, and the overall sequel trilogy to come? Yes. But not for a long time. To break off character for a sec, this prequel trilogy retrospective took 6 years to make. We started shooting in 2019, and then COVID happened, delaying the production further and further. And I do apologize for that inconvenience for all of my audiences anticipating my thoughts on the prequels since 2018. So when it comes to the sequel trilogy, I'm not making any promises on when. It may not be in the near future, but it will be the last I look into the overall Skywalker saga. But to cap this retrospective off, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith overall is an epic but tragic final chapter to the prequel trilogy. Despite my major issues with it in story structure and character development, it's the most flashy, entertaining, and darkest chapter of the saga, thrilling audiences with stunning fight scenes, action set pieces, and incredible achievements in what was possible with digital special effects. The cast gave a rousing final bow together since the trilogy began. Ian McDiarmid steals the show, of course, and it ties nicely, if not with a few picky continuity errors, to the original Star Wars. While I do love Episode 1 as the most interesting of the trilogy, Episode 3 is clearly all from the heart of George Lucas in writing and directing, and you could see the passion and love he put into this one, from the rooted original story notes he penned down 30 years prior making the original trilogy. It's the story he wanted to tell from the beginning with his own vision, and he delivered with flying colors, coming in at a solid 9.5 out of 10. It's an iconic film with a tragic ending, and is easily the key core to the entire structure of this 50-year-old franchise. It's safe to say that the legacy is well loved and remembered 20 years later since its release, making it one of the best films of the Star Wars saga, and goes out with a bang for the era of the once hated, now loved, prequel trilogy. Apologies for these unfortunate events, my lady, but as leader of this attack, the Falcon is needed for the battle to come.
No worries. At least I'm safer on this massive thing than that junk.
The Chancellor's flagship is the most guarded and armed ship of the fleet. There's no way in hell that, even if the enemy were to win, we could break through its defenses.
I'll see that the Republic ship is ready to send her home after the battle. She's in good hands, my friends.
Thank you, Chancellor. We shall not fail you. In an hour's time, the weapon will be disabled. You have my word.
Godspeed to you and your crew. May the Force be with you.
Lady?
All mechanical engineers report to the hangar area.
The only thing that keeps me alive is the thirst for vengeance.
What?
Attention all Republic Squadron! We have been selected for this task because we are the best, the elite. You all know what to do. We've received word that the battle station is orbiting near the planet Naboo. When we reach the enemy fleet, stay on the main targets and follow my lead. Let's move!
Attention all pilots. Attention all pilots. Prepare for takeoff.
Alright, come on, R2!
Please do your best to take care of R2, Master Jack.
Don't worry, the R2 can take care of himself. He has convinced he's gotten into without getting a scratch. Isn't that right, R2?
What do you mean I don't need to worry? Oh, you always have been a stubborn can, R2-D2.
General quarters, all hands. Man your battle stations.
Lord Vader, it's the Republic fleet. They grouped their entire force to attack.
Launch all fighters and ready my ship.
My lord?
Jack will be leading the attack. Tell my master that I will deal with him personally.
Yes, my lord.
Attention all pilots. Prepare for takeoff.
Report in!
Nintendo Squadron standing by.
Fox Leader standing by.
Blue Leader standing by.
This is Sega Squadron standing by.
It's a Conan standing by.
Lock all fighters in attack position!
Look at the size of that thing.
That's what she said, Brad.
That's what your mother said last night.
Cut the chatter, Red 2! Accelerate to attack speed! This is it!
Requesting permission to fire on the enemy battle.
Granted. Prepare to fire.
Alright, hold on to your panties, everyone. We are going into the danger zone.
Fox 2, watch your 6.
Fox Leader, I got one on my tail. I can't shake him.
Hold tight, Falco! Coming in!
Thanks, Gold Leader.
I got you, buddy. All clear.
Your Highness, the Chancellor wishes to see you in her office immediately.
Let her know I'm on my way. No, I'll take care of this myself. You have to keep an eye on the crew. If it gets sketchy, then get out. Shoot if you have to. Guard yourself as you would me.
think that's cool. Watch this. Yeah! Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Asshole, you're using a cheat code.
Well.
Captain, Lord Vader has engaged the enemy.
Prepare to launch the weapon. This is the Emperor's command.
Wait, the Emperor is here?
Correct, Commander. He will meet us shortly. Our Lord and Master is preparing for his return.
Yes, sir.
Wanted to see me, Supreme Chancellor?
Yes, Princess Leeta, come closer. I have good news. Master Buchanan's mission is quite successful at the moment. Enemy fighters are dwindling, and the weapon will be secured.
At last. We can destroy it and end this war.
It's a shame, though, that Jack decided to leave you behind.
Well, he had no choice in the matter. Besides, I don't fly. I fight.
Because he thinks your feelings for him have impaired your abilities. He has no right to treat you like that.
But that's absurd. You don't understand.
Oh, I believe I do. I have seen it. From many in my lifetime.
Take out their engines, now! We need to move closer to that battle station.
Copy that, Second Leader.
New bombers on me.
I'm on it, Leader. Clear away from the striker. Heavy fire, look out. I'm just doing my kill.
And Blue Leader is now out of the fight.
We got TIE fighters!
Where are all those TIE fighters coming from? Get there. What are they? Star Destroyers.
General, Imperial reinforcements coming in at .35. The Rebel battleship is taking heavy fire.
Clear out, Josh! Get the fleet to the battle station! Switch all powers to forward shields. Nintendo Squadron, cover me!
Copy that. Cover me. We're going in.
Got it.
Let's go!
Right with you.
I got one on my tail! I know, R2! Let me get this damn thing to work! Star Fox, don't fail me now! We got him, R2.
Jack, the enemy ships are beginning to phase out. And wait, what's that? Oh shit, Jack! You seeing this? A rogue squadron's going loco. I see him.
Move the fleet to the weapon as planned. This one's mine.
I have you now.
This battle could be a blessing, my child. Imagine the feats we could achieve if we mastered this weapon. We must break through the fog of lies the New Republic has created around it. For Jack doesn't have all the answers to everything in the galaxy, let alone the other universes as well. Bring them together under one roof.
How do you know about the other universes?
I have improved much upon my mentor's wisdom, including his superior knowledge of the dark side.
What are you saying?
Oh, Princess Leeta. You cannot imagine how difficult it has been watching the Jedi deceive the galaxy for centuries with their false dogma. Watching them claim what is rightfully ours, for the Jedi is afraid of us. Handing it over to those toxic male chauvinist pigs in the fan base. Who's to say they won't come after your universe next, my dear? You and the rest of Serena's court could join me, Princess Leia. Imagine what we could accomplish together. You and I, among many who side with our agenda. We can overthrow them all and rule the fictional universes. Make things the way we want them to be. Make the stories we can tell in the modern age, and create a new order in this galaxy. In your universe. And mine.
How? How could you do this?
Only within me can I achieve an ancient power and return to my formal potential. If only Jack could learn to unleash his anger and use the dark side of the Force. Only then can he save the universes from certain death.
You're evil.
Evil is a point of view, Princess. But evil from the netherworld of the Force am I.
Shit!
It is a shame we did not see eye to eye, my friend. I did enjoy your views. Come, meet your fate.
You're gonna pay for all the Jedi you killed, Vader!
Shout all you want. It's too late now.
Captain, the weapon is now charging.
Target Naboo. Palace capital.
The final crisis is approaching, Princess. And our only hope to stop it is to move quickly and claim this power before the critics and the Jedi do. Your levity of rage is impressive, my dear. A shame your universe may not be capable of the might of my power.
You're a Sith Lord.
I am. At least you're not as blind and foolish as the Jedi and the people of Earth are. Let me show you what I know, and you will understand what I will do, and why. For Jack will not be the first casualty of the fans' indifference with this universe. For the Star Wars has lost its way, and the only way to break the fans' hold of it is to end this war, once and for all. And don't try to kill me, darling. I know you would certainly like to. But you are no match for me. Holding that back sickens me. But just like your fabulous cakes, my dear Lita, the key ingredient is to break it.
Take care of the front batteries.
Take some action. Engage enemy fighters.
Roger, 501 leader. Timber, lock onto them with the auto turrets.
That station is too strong for our firepower!
Circle around their base up at point 5! This thing is a monster!
And unlike the other ones, this one doesn't have a weakness in its interior. God damn it!
I am most thankful for your service, Princess Lita. Or should I call you Sailor Jupiter?
Dark Sidious, how is this possible?
Are you surprised? My master has been gracious in returning me to the galaxy from which is rightfully mine. And beyond that,
This filth of a host!
And a new battle station at my disposal, along with the Knights of the Sith at my command.
Even with all you've obtained, the Republic is strong enough to stand against you.
For thousands of years, the Sith have always found a way to rule the galaxy within the weak cracks of the Republic. From my fall from my apprentice to my fate from my grandchild, long have I waited for my return. It was I who tried to destroy the critics all those years ago. Through the knowledge of the system and the many battle stations of the past, I now hold my rage at the neck of the galaxy. As a wise clown once said to me in the realms of evil, rage is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
You're nothing but an irritant pest with wasted potential.
You're the one who took on the form of a dead man who saved the galaxy! You're the pest!
You're something that is not allowed to exist, boy. An ally to both the light and the darkness. If the fans learned of your existence, they would want to be just as you, a true balance to the Force. And that is why you must be destroyed.
You are nothing! A mere royal wench from a universe with no power to defeat. Yes! You couldn't even defeat your own enemy. Even the might of Queen Beryl. A pity that such power was outmatched by a mere child.
I have to warn them.
Commander, the time has come. Execute Order 66-1138.
Yes, Your Majesty. Attention all vessels, execute Order 66-1138. Fire the weapon!
Palace capital in range. Commence primary ignition.
This is our destiny. The fans knew where they were heading when they chose to let Disney take the path. Hype and faith, ignorance and escapism. They never learned. They never listened to our creator's true vision. We have reached the end of that path. There is no way to prevent it now. The galactic universe will be vanquished at last, beginning where it truly started, just as it deserves.
Shut up! I won't allow it! I've been hit! Looks like I'm going down! R2! Get to the Falcon and get the hell out of here! Godspeed, my droid friend.
Republic cruiser, we lost Gold Leader. You send a rescue shuttle down and go and find his trail.
I'm sorry, Captain, but I'm afraid I cannot do that.
What do you mean you can't do that? What movie are we in anyway?
To all honorable leaders of the Republic and Empire.
Get out of my Corellian YT model space fighter!
On this battlefield, many have sacrificed for the security of the galaxy.
The message is coming from the Republic flagship?
And with it comes the sacrifice of our noble Supreme Chancellor by the doings of our noble and traitorous Jedi Knight. In light of the Jedi Order's betrayal, I and my honorable knights have authorized a swift and decisive response. These events have made it clear that both the New Republic and the Galactic Empire's time has ended. Both of its archaic laws can no longer endure peace for the galaxy. But with our combined strength, I have forged a new system for a new era. The war is gone, but from its ashes will rise the First Galactic Order, and with it, a weapon that will ensure that any form of war or opposition can never again return to our galaxy. Let this be an example for those who seek to destroy order and prosperity to our galaxy. Unite us.
Fire.
Or be destroyed.
This is Saga Leader! Is there anyone here left with us?
Saga Leader, this is the calamari fleet! We can't fight the other
Well, that's something new.
On the ship. Are you alright, my lady?
I had to come, Jack. We're in great danger.
What happened?
Chancellor Kennedy. She's Sidious. Her body.
Don't worry, don't worry. I'll take care of the Sith myself. Get to the Falcon. Get us out of here. The planet's about to go. Go! Go! Now! About the destruction of this planet! And for what? So you can think the fans deserve to see all this destroyed?
That is how they think. You know it to be true.
No way! You're wrong! The fans aren't like that at all!
What is your proof of that? Your world is filled with people's hearts filled with hatred, where fans have no purpose other than to slam their words upon their community. Why do you still take pride in believing this universe that Lucas created? Why do you still hold on to hope when there is none?
You don't understand anything else. I will do what I must. For myself, for the fans, for the Force, and for Lucas.
After all, a Sith can only understand what they have experienced and let the dark side consume, unleashing their true power. Your hatred is strong. My master has it. I have it. Lucas had it. You have that power as well.
No!
Embrace your rage. Strike me down. Only then will you have your revenge. The Jedi have taught you well. You have controlled your fear. A pity that such lessons are no more than failures.
Make it out of this one. Okay, you take the gun, cock it back, put it in my mouth.
Captain, we have an incoming call from Admiral Sith.
I totally wasn't gonna do it.
Captain Josh, is the crew alright?
We're struggling, Admiral. We're running out of ammunition and we are outgunned. Your fighters can only keep us guarded for so long. We don't even know who's on our side anymore.
It appears we're in the same boat. We're trying to regroup and jump into hyperspace as one fleet. Can your ship try to track us?
Negative, Admiral. Our communication relay has been shot and we have no map of this battlefield.
Not entirely, Captain. Admiral, we've been tracked nearby fighters.
Can they lead us to the fleet?
It may be our only shot, Admiral. Call up all surrounding fighters and follow them to the fleet.
Relay back to Nintendo leader. We gotta move quick.
Don't be destroyed. Remember, I shaped you into who you are.
Fire! It was Lucas who made this wall! Not you!
Why torment yourself? How long will you continue to fight with your thoughts clouded by that brand of poison that the fans hold on to with an iron grip?
Law of power is arrogance! Look, be the part of you! The dark side is your destiny!
It doesn't matter. Whatever happens, I have won. When this planet is destroyed, the weapon will fire on any enemy of the Galactic Order. First the fleet, then the capital of the Republic. There is no way the process can be stopped. Naboo will burn and the ensuing crimes of the Galactic Order will trigger a new battle for the galaxy. Ensuing the Star Wars will never end.
Whoa! It can't! How many times are you gonna keep that leg up? One eye in for your Skywalker!
Well, if you want to drive this thing, be my guest.
Will you just shut the fuck up? I'm trying to get these fires off my back.
What is it, Jimmy? Wait, Jack's on that planet with that princess? Jesus, I've heard of getting down by the fire, but this is just ridiculous.
Josh, what's happening?
It's Jack! He's on the planet!
Oh, that's just perfect.
I got his coordinates. I'm gonna go pick him up.
What are those fires behind us? Josh, the fleet is moving into hyperspace. You're never gonna make it.
Then we'll have to meet up later. Keep flying towards that fleet.
Copy that. Good luck, buddy.
Doctor's slowing down. It won't last much longer.
Captain, we've got incoming fighters coming out of hyperspace.
Is it one of ours?
Unknown, sir. They appear to be entering from a different part of the galaxy.
What is that?
Captain, the Republic! They brought reinforcements!
This is Captain Sean of the SS Kaiju Guard standing by for backup. All fighters report in.
This is Captain Romulus of the Cosmic Era Earth Forces, standing by on all weapons.
This is Indy Fan of the Gundam Mark II, standing by.
This is Dean, standing by. And Melvin on the gunner!
Peon Nightmare, standing by.
Pendulum the Afterlife, standing by.
River 3, standing by.
Oh, thank you!
Okay. Good to know. I'm ending this transmission.
Sony, calm down. It's just a naked guy. Why can't I see him?
Alright, boys, let's light these fuckers up with some cameo cover fire.
All turrets, divert as many as you can away from the Falcon.
I'll take out the droid ships. You handle the rest.
Copy that, Spectro. Concentrate all plasma cannons on those Star Destroyers.
Oh hey, you're offshoot balcony run. Time for some revenge. Fire!
Nice shooting.
This guy is yours. On the leader.
Your Majesty, the flagship has taken heavy damage. We must evacuate you immediately.
Prepare my shuttle for immediate departure to the planet Naboo.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I sense Lord Vader is in great danger.
Oh my god, Frank, is that a backup lightsaber?
I know you're here, Vader. You cannot break me.
Once something is broken, it will never come back. You could spend a life age trying to rekindle the sensation that existing with it brought you to no avail. I've sought the Force on this time and time again, but it amounts to nothing but a dream. And we live as we dream, alone.
Force has failed you, Darth. It's lost you.
You are the last Jedi Knight in the galaxy. This will be a day of reckoning for everyone.
I won't allow it. Who are you? Why do you take the form of Vader?
It is my destiny to take the mantle that Vader never could. The Force has led us to this inevitable end. The fans left me no other choice.
So what? We all have a choice!
I have heard enough. Now, you must die.
Good night, Sith Prince. Now you see who's truly behind that mask. George? What?
You think you're so smart. You think this universe revolves around the fans, don't you? That this world couldn't survive without its followers to solve the problems they've always wanted. Well, I've got news for you. The fans are nothing but divided and toxic. This world is going along fine with Kennedy in control.
And this qualifies as fine? Changing the past? Altering the future? Letting the Sith destroy everything you created? Putting aliens in an Indiana Jones movie? I mean, come on, dude, what were you thinking?
Don't push it, kid. Don't expect me to leave this world to someone else and then for me to come back and fix it and then only to have it fail again.
We trusted you! Trusted that Kennedy would be a better leader! To redeem your mistakes! Why do you hate the fans for that?
Whoever said I'm doing it for them, I'm doing it for me. This world is mine and mine alone.
Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Your faith in the fans is yours.
You've become the very thing you told us was evil. It's not too late. You could still redeem your mistakes! Let go of the dark side! And help us destroy the Sith! Once and for all, George!
I'm done with it all. No one ever accepted me. My abilities always terrified them. The Jedi, the Sith, the Force. I am the creator. Only I can save it.
Look what you've done! Do you call this power?
You can't even begin to imagine.
That's the dark side! Hollowing you out inside! My God! You really are a puppet like Yoda!
You think the dark side is so weak? Prove it to me.
If you want to fight me, I won't stop you. But I won't kill you!
Then this will be all too easy.
Don't do this, George.
I'm done taking orders.
This will be the end of you. I wish it were otherwise.
You cannot change what I have seen. You and I will fall into shadow and flame as the galaxy burns at last.
This galaxy is still worth protecting! Stop! It's over, George! I have the upper hand!
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Don't try it! George, hang on! You were right about me! I've been afraid all these years. But it wasn't you I feared, George. It's what the galaxy would become. When you weren't here to protect it. You're the creator of this world. You were supposed to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness.
You're saying you wish for me to die, is that it? For if my life were to pass on, the galaxy would live forever. Is that what the fans desire?
You were my hero, George! But the Lucas I know is dead! You killed him!
Then finish it. I refuse to die. My power cannot rule this galaxy until I see you destroy it.
Don't do this! George! George, come on, hold on! Oh, yes! I hate you all!
You're all clear, kid. We have your girl on board. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
We know! Put some clothes on!
In one of the countless billions of galaxies in the universe lies a medium-sized star, and one of its satellites, a green and insignificant planet, is now dead.
ST-666 to base. We found him.
My stars. He truly is the god of this universe. Bring him to the medical chambers on my ship. We must slip him into something more comfortable.
in his system are finished. He lives.
Excellent. Welcome back, Lord Vader.
It is good to see you again, my master. Where is Jack? Is he dead?
I'm afraid he still lives. It seems that our master wants you to finish what you started. It It is time for a new chapter, my old friend. For Darth Vader is no more. In its place, he will become more powerful than he could ever be. Henceforth reborn from the darkness of Vader and the hellfires of Naboo, you shall be known throughout the galaxy by a name only you can possess.
There was nothing left. There was no name for me. There was only Ren.
Good. Good.
Attention! I have an announcement for all remaining Republic and Earth forces in this region. At this moment, all regions loyal to the Republic are conducting negotiations to form a military alliance between Republic-held systems and the remaining Jedi scattered throughout the galaxy. Immediately following the commencement of these discussions, this Alliance Council will propose a request for all allied forces from other solar systems to cease any combat activities with the Alliance.
Bye, we'll miss you.
Due to the new rulings and government control of the First Galactic Order, we cannot risk the existence of unknown systems to fall into the Order's hands. This war will be fought exclusively by those from the galactic systems who believe in freedom and independence in the galaxy. A rebellion, a resistance, we see it as a revolution. The enemy's new weapon is unlike anything we can combat, and we must find a way to stop it. If not, the galaxy will be ruled by fear. For even our gods have turned their backs on us. But, if we need help, if hope still remains, we will call you if the time comes.
Good morning, Wedge. The rest of Rogue Squadron's still back at base, but I thought we could take an early morning run through Baker's Canyon. How the fuck did you get in my car?
This is BigJackFilms. Critic, warrior, Jedi. If you are listening to this, you are the revolution. As much as the past sucks a big wad of Gungan balls, the future will always look brighter. Only if you believe it to be. May the Force be with us all. Always.
What will happen now?
You'll be safe here. I've ensured that our universes have been sealed off from the Galactic Empire.
But what about you?
Fear not, my lady. For I sense someday the Force will awaken.